go. I just sent it to you.
You shared a video with me.
I did. Beep, beep, beep. All right, and just
Here we go.
okay.
Righty.
All righty, friends. How are you?
Sorry for the delay, all.
Yeah. It's been one of those days, you know? Just one of those days.
But we have a really interesting topic tonight. Excited about it.
Hi, Nick. How are you? Yes, we are talking about H.H. Holmes.
That's right. Crazy guy.
Famous serial killer. Whoop, whoop. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky. Hi, Ace.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Laura. Nancy's watching too. Hi, Miss Nancy.
Darren.
Hey, Darren.
Yay.
I know it's right now. I've been keeping an eye on it, Darren. It's still okay, but you know, yeah. I saw my other. She was an old coworker, and I saw my other old coworker post the same thing that she's like, I might be hacked. So I'm just like, yeah, I will. Things like that make me nervous. I don't know why.
Guess no hacking on my watch. No hacking on my watch. It's not happening.
But yeah, send your good jujus to my way. So far, so good. I blocked her and changed my password, and I even sent her a text message going, "I blocked you." So if you get back on and you don't see me,
sorry,
forever,
not sorry.
You're blocked. I'm sorry, but
yeah, funny.
Yeah.
All right, so this guy was a piece. He really was.
Yep.
You got a picture of him?
I do. Hold on, let me find it.
Does anybody out there know anything about him?
Yeah, what's your take? Let's show you this crazy guy. There he is.
And that's, I believe, the bottom level was where he started the pharmacy, right?
Yes.
Because he bought this in what, Chicago?
Yes.
And he had the pharmacy down below and then started building up.
Yes. So he was not originally named H.H. Holmes. His birth name was Herman Webster Mudgett. And he was born May 16th, 1861. So his birthday's coming up, y'all.
In New Hampshire.
Yep. And he died May 7th of 1896. So he was only 30-some years old, 35.
Gosh, can you imagine?
Yeah, he was only 35 years old, but he was caught and executed for obviously murder, but they only charged him with one murder.
Which was the murder of a friend of his.
Yes. And we'll get into that in a few. But he did a lot of insurance fraud, and that's how basically this all got started with him. So basically, in his younger days, he was very into spooky things and skeletons. And so when he went to school somewhere out in New Hampshire, didn't like it too well. And then he went to my favorite school, where I want to go to school still till this day I want to go to school there. But he went to U of M. He went to University of Michigan. Go Blue. So, and back then, it only took 2 years to get a doctorate's degree, to be a doctor. 2 years, only 2. Now you have to go to school for like 12, 13, 14, the rest of your life, which I will not be doing anymore. But anyways, he went to school there for 2 years, became a doctor, and he basically learned how to perform surgeries. So, but while he was at the school, his professor, and I thought this was interesting, his professor, William James Herdman, who was the chief anatomy instructor, would take him to grave sites and they would dig up cadavers.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's what everybody does on their free time.
I know, right?
Yeah, right.
So
that's probably what caused that to be illegal.
Right. Right.
Grave digging.
So he would go engage in this grave robbery so that they could supply the medical field with cadavers so they can practice on them, which is kind of gross, actually.
It's kind of creepy.
It is, and to do that because he liked it since a young age is even more creepier. So yeah, he started out grave robbing, which turned into insurance fraud. So he would take these cadavers after a while and meet people. Pretty much murder them and turn their insurance claims in, and then they'd find the cadavers and thinking it was them, which is
Yep.
No, we don't do state. No. Mm-mm.
I think Laura, I think they think like 200, but he only confessed to like 27.
Yeah, he confessed to 27 murders. However, not all of them were actually dead. So there's some discrepancies in his confessions because there was quite a few people that were actually still living well past his time of death. They were still living. So, he was a con artist. So he had people, and back then the newspapers were pretty much like the death certificates of these people. If it was reported in the news, it was that was his history. That's how they did it. That's how they kept track of it.
Well, we should add that once so jumping back, well, I don't know. He didn't start traveling with his friend though till after, right?
It was a little while later.
Yeah. So when he was the pharmacist and he was running the pharmacy down below, he started building they call it the murder castle, up. So within that were, I'm reading here, according to reports, there were soundproof rooms, secret passages, mazes in the hallways and staircases. The rooms were allegedly equipped with trapdoors over chutes that dropped the victims into the building's basement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when they would have these fairs, like the World Fairs would come through that would attract over, 27 million visitors or something? It was a huge deal. And he would rent his rooms out to these people. And they would even claim odd rooms, that staircases that led nowhere, or doors that were locked when they would go through tunnels. I mean, it was crazy.
And
Show that
he
picture
actually
again.
had, and they actually had, he would have holes in the walls too, where they had gas pipes going up to him, so he gas people, and they would, you know, essentially go to sleep, and he could kill them that way too.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got all these different stairways everywhere inside the walls, underneath, trap doors going all the way from the basement up. That's crazy.
Yeah. And and unfortunately that building is no longer existing, but it would have been cool to investigate. There's a post office that's there now, so I sometimes wonder, like, would they feel anything?
Yeah.
You know.
I was gonna say maybe the grounds.
But the World Fair started back then and I wasn't going down that rabbit hole, but it was basically to honor Christopher Columbus, because it was like their 400 years celebration of America, you know. So that's why they started the World Fair in Chicago.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before we went on live, about him possibly being Jack the Ripper. And I think Holly mentioned to me that the penmanship was very
similar,
very close. Yeah.
Yeah, it says also not true.
Awesome.
Is a descendant currently living in Florida is making the argument that H.H. Holmes is Jack the Ripper. So this is somebody that was closely related to him that's saying, hey, it was him. And because the handwriting comparison analysts is very similar to the Dear Boss letters written by Jack the Ripper. But they also state that H.H. Holmes' activities in the U.S. were well documented, except for a short span of time when he was between July of 1888 and the beginning of 1889, which he disappeared. And there is documentation of travel that he was in the England area, like the ship's log for England. So, and they say that Jack the Ripper, you know, obviously was a doctor of some sort, knew how to cut people open. And here we have H.H. Holmes, who is a doctor, who went to school for surgery, who, you know, took out people's organs, because that was part of his killings, was he took people's organs for the anatomy class so that they could dissect things. So it's like two of the same people, yet I know we talked about Jack the Ripper before, saying that they have DNA evidence that was somebody else, but sometimes you just gotta wonder.
It's true.
You know?
I mean, this guy, even if you take away the killing aspect of it, which alone obviously is awful, but I mean, he just wasn't a good guy all the way around.
No.
I mean,
because
he had several wives. He married wife number one, Clara, in 1879. He ended up abandoning his wife and children to move to Chicago. He ended up marrying again in 1887 and again. And I mean, he
was married to 3 women at the same time. Had a little girl with the second wife, and I think he had a little girl with the first wife, who both the first wife and the first child did end up going missing. He ended up killing his mistress, apparently, who was the wife of the owner of the pharmacy that he started at when he moved to Chicago. So that could be his first victim, was the mistress. Yeah. But
Yeah, it says that his crime spree started at a very, very, very young age. He may be considered to be the first American serial killer.
Yep.
He was charming and intelligent. Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel, for sharing it out. Appreciate it. I mean, he's got a good mustache going. I gotta say that for sure.
He looks Italian.
He does got a good mustache. You know, those mustaches back in the days. I think people are trying to bring back those mustaches. I've been seeing a lot of those thick mustaches again.
I'm reading here that it says that he, after committing all the fraud in the different places, he stole the cadavers. So then he ended up moving his criminal lifestyle to Philadelphia, where he ended up being a suspect in the suspicious death of a child who received medication from the drugstore where he worked.
Right.
And he became the beneficiary on these policies belonging to several women who worked for him, who later ended up dead. That's crazy.
And there's been quite a few books written about him. But there was something did catch my eye, and I'm going to share this quote with you. And it was in one of the books about Holmes, Adam Seltzer writes, because I found this interesting about serial killers of what he has to say about it. But it said, just killing several people isn't necessarily enough for most definitions of a serial killer. More often, it has to be a series of similar crimes committed over a period of time, usually more to satisfy the psychological urge on the killer's part than any more practical motive. I find that very interesting. That just because you kill a lot of people, even if you did it in a short period of time and you killed multiple people, doesn't make you a serial killer.
It's true.
You have to almost do it over. And I remember, was it 2 years ago, 2021, we went to the MyParacon in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and there was a lady just talking about serial killers, and I forget her name. Ace might remember. I don't remember names too well sometimes. But she was part of a team, and she was actually talking about her father, who was a serial killer. And she was talking about the characteristics of the serial killer, and I was like she didn't know until she was way older, and but he was over time. It was like a thing. It was over time. He was killing people. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even imagine having a parent as a serial killer.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the police had no clue. Like he was in cahoots with his community. He was liked. I mean, the person we're going to be talking about the next time that we do this was the same way. I mean, he had established himself in the community. Like there was nobody looking at him for anything really. I mean, the police would go there and nothing would, I mean, just going in because it is a store. And I mean, there was never a clue or anything revealed about what he was doing while he was building. He did go through a lot of workers. So he would fire them all in a single day and rehire. I don't know there's theory on that of maybe too many questions were being asked or.
Yeah, anytime they started having suspicions about him, he would just up and leave and move somewhere else. And he has many different aliases too, that he would change his name all the time to, but H.H. Holmes is the one that pretty much was the last name that he had, the one he died with. But I mean, he ended up being Alexander Bond, which most of these two is, like I said, was the insurance fraud. He would change his name to
He
collect
would
the
become
insurance
these
money.
people, basically.
Yeah.
To get the money, or their relative, or
and then he would fake
their beneficiaries.
Yeah, and then he would fake their death or fake his death, collect the insurance money, which was about 10 grand. So you gotta figure 10 grand right now, today's day, would be milk and bread and eggs. but
Pretty
back
sure
then,
you're about right on that one.
but back then, it
That was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money back in the 1800s, But he went by Alexander Bond, and quite a few other different names they listed. But yeah, it's just like, okay. But I mean, you definitely have to be a pretty good liar, to convince
to
people
get by with all the stuff that he was able to get by with
in such a short period of time. I mean, yeah, it was over multiple years, but still, I think it was a short period of time that he did all these killings.
Did I already read the stuff about what was in the house? I know we did it before the show, but have I done it since?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you talked about the different rooms and the chambers. Yeah. But the locations that he would travel through, it was Illinois, Indiana, Ontario. So he actually went to Canada and Pennsylvania. So,
wow.
So he traveled quite a bit, and you got to imagine probably in that time of frame it was either train or horse and buggy. I don't know, when was the first car made? 1900 something.
Was it 4?
I wanted to say 1902, but
was it a Ford?
Yeah, it was Ford. Yeah.
So then, so we talked about the people that he confessed to, which obviously weren't all true, but then they think there was more towards 200. He fled Chicago in October of 1893 following the conclusion of the World's Fair, where he was arrested in Boston, and he was the primary suspect in the murder of his assistant, that Benjamin
Pitzel.
Was it Peitzel?
Yeah.
And 2 of Peitzel's children. So he had misled Peitzel's wife as well, collecting the insurance money for his former assistant and living with his widow and 3 of their children.
So that's Peitzel and his 3 children that all went missing.
Yeah. Police eventually discovered the body of one of the murdered children, and this discovery led to Holmes' arrest.
Yeah.
He did eventually confess to murdering them too.
Yeah, poor children. It's yeah, and possibly London. You're right, possibly London. I'm not sure what your name is. It just comes up as Paranormal Real Estate. I don't know who that is. But that's pretty cool. Yeah, they eventually caught him. And like I said, there's suspicion that he had killed over 200 people because of that house, because of the World Fair. Hi, Amber. But he was only convicted of the one murder, just the one. The rest of his convictions was because of fraud, insurance fraud, the illegal marriages, because he was married to all 3 ladies at the same time.
Bigamy?
Yeah. Yeah, it says 3 to 4 bigamous illegal marriages. Oh, he horse theft as well. He would steal horse. I'm sure he stole the horses to ride them around to, travel. it's check forging. You know, did they? I didn't even know they had checks back then. But hey, cool.
The banks were just getting developed, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know how
right.
long banks were in by
But
then.
he's like she said earlier. He started in the pharmacy. He bought that pharmacy out from the guy that he was working with, and pretty much killed them, and then sold that pharmacy and and then started constructing the one across the street, and he kept adding layers to the building. But what happened was he would he would sign documents over to somebody else, and they're like one of his wives or something, and then not pay the construction workers. So eventually, and then it just got to the third level, which I would have questioned stuff when they were building it. I mean, if there's some trap
Well, if
doors,
anybody questioned it, what he was doing, he would fire them.
Yeah,
He would get rid of them. They wouldn't be around the next day. Plus, he wasn't paying them anyways. So,
yeah, he was just. Who knows what happened to all that money he got?
So, according to some of the stuff that I read about it,
Hello, Memphis hunters. We got a lot of people on here new to this time. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know. It says here that now they're also saying that this could be fabricated news from back in the 1890s, kind of like today's news in a sense, that sometimes they get ahead of themselves when they report things, and then later on they're like, oh wait, our bad, we didn't mean that, it's really this. So I think that doesn't happen all the time, but they're saying that there were claims that the facility or the house basically had acid vats, pits of quicklime that's often used on decaying corpses, a crematorium.
Oh, that's right.
So these were items that they would use to finish off the victims, so they would try to get rid of the bodies. But again, they also said that these were very possibly fabricated news reports in the 1890s, just kind of like we heard that there was, but I could totally see it. I mean, if you're going to build trapdoors and all that, you don't think you're going to try to cover yourself on killing these people?
Yeah, and they had some rooms in the basement too, where he would like some of the ladies that went missing in the area, like one lady, Emmeline Sinagrad. They believe she was impregnated by him, and then he tried to perform abortions on these ladies that he got pregnant. And they would die from that because it was a failed attempt to an abortion. And then he would try to cover it up because they would go missing. So, yeah. They would
guy.
But he had a crematory in there too, in the basement.
Yeah.
Where he would burn them up too. So,
I mean, he had all of it covered.
He really did. He was like, it's amazing how you can just. But they did say the police efforts weren't really that big on him right then, because he would disappear and move just as quick as they would get a hold of, had their suspicions. I can't imagine though.
It says here that Holmes didn't deny his actions or ask for forgiveness. Holmes said he was born with the devil inside him.
Yeah.
He claimed he could not help but murder, just like a poet can't help but write. Holmes refused to ask for forgiveness even after meeting with 2 Catholic priests.
Yep, he definitely
was executed by hanging.
Yep, he definitely believed he was possessed by the devil, by Satan himself. I don't know. I I know we do what we do here in the paranormal, and like I say all the time, I believe in heaven and hell, but I really don't believe in possessions as much as that people claim they happen, because we would be really one effed up world if that was true. Like,
Oh,
really,
you mean more so than we already are, right?
right.
Right.
Like, I mean, for all time's sake, I mean, I know me and Ace, we've had this conversation numerous times, and we end up in a dark rabbit hole. We're like, okay, we're done. No more.
Oh, he was definitely charismatic. He was charming. He was intelligent. He knew how to lure in the women.
He did, but then he abused them. Like he would. I know the people that when him and Claire moved to Chicago, the people they were living with, they actually stated that he would abuse her. He would beat her up a little bit, and she ended up leaving at one point and going back to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, where they were, from, and took her kid, but then she ended up disappearing. So
yeah, anybody who really came in contact with him,
I mean, they all, what is sad is because you can claim that you have, you're possessed by the devil, and really you just have psychological problems. Like, I mean, I couldn't even imagine what goes through somebody's brain to kill somebody else. Like, I can't even.
And how they think they're going to get away with it.
Right.
Or, I mean, yeah, you might get away with it for a while.
Silly.
All right.
Oh, be careful. Oh, be very, very careful what you say in the chats, because you don't want to get Facebook jailed. Let me just say that, because I almost did the other day when I was on one of my friends' Facebooks. I said something about kicking somebody's ace. Yeah. And I got a warning. I was like, well, it's true. But he was talking about bullying, and I was like, yeah. And I got a warning on my account.
Well, that's how you're going to end up not having a Facebook anymore. No. I
try very carefully to like code words when I'm talking, but then I was in the middle, like thinking, hey, we're on a podcast, and I said that and it flagged me. I was like, oh shoot. Oh yeah, so be careful.
Maybe you should try Morse code and like ... dash ... and then they have to decipher it before they can flag you.
I usually do that. I would put like K with an apostrophe LL and then the E a different so everybody knows what it is, but it throws off the algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah, I really wish that his house hadn't burned down, because I feel like nowadays, I feel like it would be a huge tourist attraction.
And you're probably right, but the claim is that there was it bursted, like it went up in flames, but somebody reported seeing two men exit the building right before it exploded, and they did say they found a gas can under one of the stairs, but they pretty much said it went up in flames like real fast. So sure, after his death, they didn't want that building. That I mean, a lot of deaths. So that makes me wonder too. Being in the paranormal, we talk about residual hauntings and all that stuff. What about the post office that's still standing there and that's still in use? Like, we need to go there and find out what their daily life is like at the post office. Anything weird happen? Mail go missing? Mail go flying across the room?
So I found this website called The Crime Wire and it has 5 strange facts about H.H. Holmes that you may, and most of them we've covered, but it did say here that even though people claim to have witnessed seeing him dying at the gallows, some believe that he managed to escape. The rumors suggests that Holmes bribed police officers and cadaver was put in his place. A descendant of H.H. Holmes, Jeff Mudgett, believes the rumors to be true. Jeff claims that Holmes escaped and fled to London to continue his violent spree, but under the name Jack the Ripper. Yeah. But somewhere else I read that it said that they actually, his family exhumed his body and they did a DNA test. And it was H.H. Holmes, but I don't know if they would have done that against Jack the Ripper. I mean, could it? Do we still have the picture of who they thought Jack the Ripper was?
Not on here. I don't. I think I got rid of them.
And look it up, and I can show my screen.
But they did say
close.
They did say during his execution, they did a hanging. They did a hanging, and his neck was never broken during the hanging. He actually, it took him 20 minutes after the floor dropped out and he was hanging there for him to actually die of suffocation. So, and then when they did bury him, he requested that his body or his casket or whatever be encased in cement. And so when they did exhume his body to test it, they found that his clothes were still intact and his mustache was still intact. So his clothes never what's the word I want to use? Like disintegrated. But his famous mustache was still intact on his face. All because he was enclosed in cement. So I thought that was weird. That was kind of interesting because they do that though. They will take. So now I wonder, not that I'm going to go dig up bodies or anything, but now I wonder how preserved our bodies are because they do put you in cement casings. They take your whole casket and drop it in some cement, put the cement thing up, and then they bury so that your casket doesn't get all from the earth. Now I wonder how preserved are our bodies when they're.
So, I mean, these are the pictures that we used for Jack the Ripper. I think this was the main one here. There definitely is a similarity.
The mustaches.
Yeah, I mean, because H.H. Holmes was down here a little bit further, right there. Isn't that H.H. Holmes?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, they do look kind of similar. I don't know.
Yeah, they're but then they look like they could be cousins or brothers or something.
Maybe it's just just runs in the family or genetics is a crazy thing. I'm telling you, my son, his father, he didn't really grow up with him much. But he would still kind of laugh like him, talk like him, walk like him, wear the same clothes as him. I mean, it was just crazy to see just by genetics how similar they were.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, who knows?
Yeah. But you got it's almost like, if you're abusing drugs or alcohol or even food, how much DNA goes into all of that, and to have those genes, because that's hereditary. They say that at least. But you got to wonder how much of a serial killer's DNA And that video you sent me, he did talk about that. He said there are still some relatives of H.H. Holmes living today, but they're so far down the line that they don't have those tendencies, those markers, as you would call them, to commit crimes like that.
That's good.
So
maybe, hopefully nothing ever happens, but I mean, would it be one of those like skipping every other third, fifth generation or something? I mean, I don't even know.
yeah, right. Like
How you even think like that person.
It makes me think of the books I just read, which has been out forever, but I've seen the movies many times. But the Divergent series, they talk about the reason why they created that city and stuff was to have pure genes, to DNA. They wanted pure people so that they could fix humanity because everybody was crazy and killing everybody. And I was like, huh, okay, I don't think that'll ever happen, but hey, you can't fix human beings.
This is true.
So I don't think we'll ever be fixed. Not in this, definitely not in my lifetime. Probably not in my kid's lifetime. No.
Agreed.
Nope, it's weird. But yeah, I mean, I just want to know where they got the 200 killings from. Like, where does it show that? I couldn't find anything other than that. And each one of the articles I found, it said could be up to 200. I'm like, but where's the proof? Where's the proof, people?
Proof's in the pudding.
That'd be gross.
So the next show is on the 25th.
Is it the 25th?
Yeah, because you are.
Oh, it is. I was thinking the 22nd. I'm sorry, Amber. It's the 25th, not the 22nd.
Yes.
I miscalculated my dates. I didn't look at my calendar. Yes, normally we would go every 2 weeks, but the 18th is my bestie's birthday and she's turning 40. So I kind of want to take her out to dinner because nobody's doing anything for her. So I want to take her out to dinner. So we're going to skip another week and do it on the 25th of May, right before Labor Day. But that one's going to be a good one too. And I'm hoping I can borrow one of Ace's dolls because he's got a couple different things. Would you like to share with who we're going to talk about next?
I believe it is John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
So much there. I don't even need to research him. Like, I know probably way more than I should know about John Wayne Gacy, sadly.
Yep.
And then I think after that, aren't we going to be like visiting a bunch of different fairy tales?
Yep.
We're going to do a combo.
Yeah, we're going to do a combo because the fairy tales, we know the dark history, but there's not a lot of dark history, like factual stuff. So we're going to combine a few.
Believe him to be the killer. What's he mean?
What do you mean by that? The man at the Paracon? To be the killer, the Jack the Ripper killer? You know,
I think his family believes that he is, like the descendants. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you would think with all the technology that we have nowadays, the DNA testing that we have, the science that's out there, you would think they would go back to some of these, past cases, whether they're closed or not, and truly find out who the killer was. I mean,
well, and if you think about it, with him changing his identity as much as he did,
right?
I mean, could it be possible that the person that they're claiming is that DNA really is him and that he had just changed his identity at that time?
Right. That could be the thing too. But like we talked about there, it was found on fabric. The DNA was found on fabric. But the people that were there were prostitutes. Probably didn't wash up very much,
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how often were their clothes actually washed? They could have had other people's, DNA on their skirts and cloth and whatever. And that was the one spot they tested and go, oh, it's this guy,
Right.
Or she could have slept with that one guy that they claimed to have the DNA, but yet he watched and followed and killed her afterwards, and they got the wrong guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very, very possible.
Yeah. So, I mean, and like I said, like you showed, those pictures do look similar, And he could have changed his look a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Change the color of his hair. If
you're wanted for killing, they think, almost 200 people. I mean,
right.
I mean, he got hung for one, but
right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, he died at the age of 34. That was close. My math didn't add up, but I was close. I was 1 year off.
It's pretty young.
He is buried in an unmarked grave at Holy Cross Cemetery, which is in Eden, Pennsylvania.
We always talk about we need to go to these graveyards.
I know. We need to take our equipment out there and try to find his unmarked grave.
Always say that. Oh, we should go to that graveyard. And we never do. We should do like a field trip of graveyards sometime. Take a weekend and get ones close by.
Get one of those RV buses and just...
Yes, I've been saying that.
We all just hop on, pay for the bus, and here we go.
Here we go. We're out.
We just need somebody to buy us a bus, and then we could... Do you see those videos of people refurbishing buses into, like, homes?
Yes.
Like, we need somebody to buy us a bus, and then we can scrap everything out of it, turn it into the UBGN bus, and we just tour everywhere.
We need a donated bus. Hi, Cassie. We need a donated bus, everyone.
And then and then somebody has to get their CDL license so we can drive the bus.
Do you have to have a CDL to drive a school bus?
Yeah, they do classes.
No.
There's a certain type of license you need to drive a school bus. I don't know if it's a CDL, but I know there's a class that you do have to take because there's a special license code or something.
I'd be totally down to get it so we can.
Okay, well, Carol's on. She's our bus driver.
There you go, Carol.
Carol already has one. See, I have a chauffeur's license. So if we get a limo, we could do that, and I could just drive the limo. But
that'd be awesome.
I do have a show. I know for like the smaller school buses, back in the. Never mind. I'm not gonna be rude, but the smaller buses, the smaller yellow buses. So with a chauffeur's license, I can drive one of those buses because I did drive one of those buses a lot of times. But I don't know about the big buses.
Magic.
Yeah. Well, you said it, not me. I was going to be nice.
So we need a donated bus that we can convert into a graveyard field trip bus.
But then we can just have equipment back there, and we can have video camera. We could just
deck it out.
Yes.
I don't think it's
we can travel, and then we can all just quit our job and go travel together.
Man, would that not be the way?
All across the United States, we'll just travel, and we'll pick up hitchhikers on the way and say $50 for a ride.
Oh yeah, that's safe. That's safe.
They'll be like, what's going
We're
on
going to
here.
be their next podcast.
No, we'll be the weirdos, and they'll be like, I don't know about you people.
Tonight on the show about two missing women after picking up hitchhikers on a
No, because there'll be 10 of us on this bus, not just us. There'll be a lot of us, and then we'll pick up other people, give them a ride, and with like $50 for a ride.
Oh my gosh!
Sorry, that sounded bad.
If they're hitching, they probably don't have any money. They're hitching for a reason. They can't Uber, or they would have.
Well, maybe we can offer rides for other paranormal people to their destination. Pick up and drop off on our way, DoorDash for gas.
Yes. Yes.
There you go.
Because it's going to be a gas guzzler, man. We're going to get like two stop signs. Oh, got to get gas.
And the way the gas prices
made it to 3 stop signs this time. Yeah. But, it would so be worth.
Ghost Bus Posse. There you go. But,
I want that to say it on the side of the donated bus.
Ghost Bus Posse.
Ghost Bus.
You're in, Daniel James. You came up with the name, so
we need a logo.
Yeah. The logo will be a little bus with a ghost coming out of it.
Yes.
See. All right, Carol.
All right.
Sorry.
We're counting on
a phone call. Awesome. Well, people, we have about 6 minutes left. Anybody want to say anything before we get off? Because, we only got 6 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our next one, John Wayne Gacy.
I know that'll be a good one, too.
It is. It's very sad, but good.
And 10 helmets.
Everything we do is sad, but good. That should be our new theme. Sad, but good.
Daniel says,
have a nice night, Cassie. Thank you.
Bye, Cassie.
10 helmets.
That could be dangerous with the helmets on, Wait. What kind of helmets? Are we talking about crash helmets? Are we talking about bicycle helmets? Are we talking about Austin Maynard's, what is that helmet?
It's the SL
you know which one that
I can't think. It's the method. It's the ghost box. It's like the SD's method is what
the ghost helmet. There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's from Supernatural Inc.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, Katie
Stafford does what is that called? The brain. Is Becky still on here? She probably knows.
Daniel would know. He says he's got one.
Oh, he does?
It says ghost helmet. Got one.
Nice.
Could you imagine if all 10 of us on a bus had one?
KD's. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. All of us had one on.
That would be some weird crazy. You know what?
That would be insane.
That would
we don't all need to, you know what I mean?
No, but can you imagine if you had 3 or 4 of those helmets in one building and we 4 people sat in the same room? I wonder what would happen. Would they would everybody get the same result or would they get different results? Would they power off of each other? Because I tried it. It was a weird, freaky feeling.
I don't know. That feels like it.
We're gonna have to ask Austin and Katie now. We're gonna have
Daniel says he hasn't used it yet.
Well, maybe get on it, Daniel.
Yeah, you need to try it and let us know. That's what I was thinking not you, but when you were like, get us all one, I'm like, do we all need to be scrambled up there at the same time?
I mean, I tried it and I didn't do it. I mean, I tried it. I tried it at Middle Point when Austin had it. I think Katie was there. So I did try it up in the mirror room and I didn't last that long because it made me really creeped out. Like,
yeah,
I didn't do it for the 45 minutes.
Be on standby.
Well, we could put 4 people in there. Katie, make 4 more helmets. We could put 4 people in there, have 1 person in the room videotaping everybody, and see what happens. I'm curious.
All right, you're in charge. Do it. See? You're in charge of that. Get on it.
Let's go. When we'll be at Ugly.
I'll be the one that isn't going to wear it, just so if all your guys' brain turned to mush, somebody's there. I am there for
you. Daniel James, you can bring your helmet. We'll put you in there. Ace can wear one. You froze.
There we go. Was it me?
Yeah, you froze.
All right.
Wasn't me. Okay, who's Paranormal Insight? Who? Okay, you guys tell me your name because it says Paranormal Insight.
It says having trouble connecting. Okay.
I don't know who that is. Thank you for spelling my name right. I am used to it being spelled Holly, though, you know. I mean, I was born in December, but that's not reason why my parents named me Holly. I did find out.
Is your middle name Jolly?
No.
So it's not Holly Jolly?
No.
Okay.
No. It's actually Elizabeth. Yeah. Okay. And my sister's name is Heather, and we're actually both flowers. Heather is actually a flower. So anywho. All right. So we will see you guys on May 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Things Network, on RU Media Network, and YouTube. You can find us. So share out because you can actually still watch it on YouTube. It posts there and stays. We have a YouTube channel. And like she said, John Wayne Gacy.
Wayne Gacy. Was it Pogo?
Oh, and happy Mother's Day to everybody out there because that's coming up in a week. So
yes, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. You guys enjoy. Bye.
Bye, guys. Peace.